It really started as, it's a physical storefront location throughout the country, but like what really helped it grow was Google and Google AdWords. So we had some good experience on the Google side of things, like search engine marketing, but we didn't have any of the social stuff. And I think with the fit of the jewelry company and Discover, like finding new customers, I think that's really helping us grow and going to help us grow to that next level.
Like, we started selling this product out of the trunk of our car.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Inventory management is about balance.
Get the product out. That's number one.
I've always preached sustainable growth.
So we just started building community.
Look at the data.
Product development is everything.
Yeah, we say we're a brick, click, and pop.
But you have to love what you do.
Cassandra's going to be leading a really awesome panel with two phenomenal Shopify store owners. Vessi, who I see Gabriel's here, and one of my colleagues just ordered his Vessi shoes, and he did a little customer testimonial thing where he put his shoes under a tap last night when he first got them, and sure enough, they were incredibly waterproof, just like everybody knows they are. So, Cassandra, I'll pass it over to you to bring out Vessi and, of course, 100 Ways.
Amazing, thank you. The Vessi's ads, honestly, they get me every single time, and when I buy a pair, I will be doing the exact same thing. I just want to pour water on them and see if they work.
100%. That's what everybody does.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. So I just wanted to introduce everyone. So we have Gabriel from Vessi. Then we also have Tyler and Charlie from 100 Ways. So first, I just want everybody to kind of introduce themselves, introduce your brand, where you're from, what you're currently working on, just so if anybody here doesn't know the brands, just to get a little bit of an insight.
Should I start then?
Perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, my name is Gabriel. I've been with Vessi since forever, since we started the first Kickstarter campaign. I was buying the first ads for the first Kickstarter, and I've been with the brand since then. We very quickly, through the Kickstarter project, we noticed, okay, there's getting traction. We need a Shopify store. And then we opened the Shopify store to start even with pre-orders and all that, the post-Kickstarter strategy that we needed. So I've been with the brand since then. We are now a team of 18 people here in Vancouver. I'm originally from Brazil. You're going to notice a Latin accent when I speak. So I'm from there. I've been in Vancouver for 6 years now, and half of this time with Vessi. The brand has been growing exponentially. We are a waterproof shoe. We have now launched a week ago a new model that kind of changes a bit the brand positioning, but it's been quite successful. The feedback has been amazing. And yeah, happy to be here.
Amazing, thank you. I'll let Charlie and Tyler take it away.
Hi, my name is Charlie. We started 100 Ways about 3 years ago, but before that, about 10, 12 years ago, we started a company called Canada Gold. And Tyler runs the company, he's the CEO. But basically what we did is we opened retail locations across Canada to purchase basically gold jewelry. Then over the years, we built up a really good inventory of it. We were selling it on eBay at first, and then eventually decided to try out a Shopify store. And we had a ton of success with that pretty quickly. So we have now over 7,000 items, it's all real gold, real diamonds on there. So a lot of engagement rings, stuff like that. And then about 6 months ago, actually, we attended one of these, or Tyler attended one of these get-togethers with Socialite. And yeah, you can
from there. Hi, I'm Tyler. So I'm the CEO of 100 Ways and Canada Gold. So yeah, had attended one of these. It was in-person meetup in Vancouver in February that Socialite put on. I learned quite a bit. We actually decided to enter into a relationship with Socialite after that. We had tried Facebook advertising just on our own before. Hadn't really worked out. But yeah, we started working with Socialite as of April, especially with COVID going on and everything. And it's been excellent. We're seeing exponential growth in terms of the Facebook advertising and stuff like that. It's really seems to be working, and
really awesome to see you guys. Hey Charlie, hey Tyler.
Yeah, hey.
Good. How's it going, guys?
As another thing to add, like I would say we're at sort of an earlier stage in our company than Vessi Shoes is, just looking at it. Like we're sort of working on a redo and a bit of a rebrand for our site, but have had a lot of success and are starting to, devote some more time and attention to try to grow this from a good starting point.
I think that's a really good point that you brought up. I'm just going to hop in with a quick comment there. Like ever since I met you guys, it's like you kind of just had like an undeniable product market fit. Like you just had a really raving fan base that like loves your products. You didn't do a lot of the stuff, to be honest, a lot of the stuff we're talking about today, but you had a proven massive customer base. So obviously you guys are just like really down in with the product and the market fit and the customer.
Yeah, we did no email marketing until we started working with you guys, and now that's over 30% of our business is coming from
those
from
campaigns.
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of things we weren't doing, and our Black Friday in particular that I think we're going to talk about. We weren't that creative with our promotions. We never marketed anything. We just sort of had a banner on the page, but never did any external reaching out for that. So I think there's a lot to talk about there.
We were as well. That was another thing that we really weren't utilizing at all, and that's something that we have obviously started doing with working with Socialite as well. We've honestly learned like quite a bit, and there's still like obviously work and things to continue learning as we go along. But no, we're very excited with how things have been going. So,
what's the secret, guys? I've been waiting my whole life to ask you, like, because you're not doing any ads, you weren't doing any email marketing. What's this like hidden secret? How did you guys grow to such like high level? What was going on?
I mean, like, honestly, there's a lot. Like, we had a good product. Like, we had spent 10 years collecting, nice pieces. We eventually, just through our store, started relationships with some customers. Honestly, some resellers found us and started buying pretty good volumes there. Also from, like, the Canada Gold business from 10 years ago, it really started as, it's a physical storefront location throughout the country, but like what really helped it grow was Google and Google AdWords. So we had some good experience on the Google side of things, like search engine marketing, but we didn't have any of the social stuff. And I think with the fit of the jewelry company and like finding new customers, I think that's really helping us grow and going to help us grow to that next level. But
and also with the 10 years of buying so many items, we had curated obviously the best of the best kind of thing. So with all those years of collecting those items, we just have very fine, very vintage, very, very nice pieces. So having a product that is very nice and higher end kind of thing, like that has obviously also been very good for our branding and how much people love us kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
and honestly, like our competitors in this space were for the most part like pawn shops, eBay, places that are just hard to build trust. We had good prices, so those all helped us find those first few customers.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I love this as well because you were specifically more a retail business and now going more onto the online business, whereas Vessi has been primarily online. So I feel like we're going to get some really good insight here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Okay, so I have my first question is going into holiday selling, how is everyone feeling? I know with COVID and last year, and for you, like going from retail to online and Vessi launching a new product, how are you guys feeling, and like how are you guys starting to set yourselves up, if you have? I know it's a little early. You may have been like, oh, I'll deal with it later, but yeah.
No, I mean, this, like, leading up to this this conversation is when we really started to think about it. It's great. Like, I'm very excited, particularly because it happens once it's the big sales season and stuff. So we when we're planning 6 months out, even though we haven't talked about the details of what we're going to sell, we are talking about improving our packaging, having that launched in time for this. So it just gives us like a deadline to work towards to get our site and our products and our experience up to the level we want it to be. And then just there's so much unknown and uncertainty with COVID and what shopping is going to be like. So we're hoping we can have a good Christmas and Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for us, that is going to be the third third Black Friday. So I feel that every Black Friday is a new learning curve, and new things you learn, new things you promise that you won't, that's new mistakes that you have in front of you. But yeah, because we finalized this launch like a week ago, as I mentioned, now it's about, okay, now we're going to start talking about BFCM. We already have a lot of things in mind about the whole post-mortem from the last one. Now we revisit that. Okay, what are the things that we actually still remember? Plus, what are the data, what the data showed? And we're already thinking of that already, for sure.
Amazing. And like, Gabrielle, I'll just go off of that. What are some of the strategies that you guys are currently thinking about?
Well, as you said, COVID is changing a bit the game. We had a lot of things planned, doing the reverse, going offline a bit and doing our pop-up shops and creating experience centers. So all of those are now on hold. And a lot is being translated to digital. So a few of the things we're trying already is for this new launch, we brought AR, we're using 3D, we're using new things to try to create that sort of experience that customers, they can't have anymore in the offline world. So trying to bring that to digital, and also new channels. And that is one of our, I'd say, I don't want to say mistakes, but one of the things we didn't work before was text. Even though everybody talks about text for the last 2 years or so, we were very behind because we were always afraid of that. We always want human relationships, like human interactions, and we felt that text until then for us was not there. We didn't have the time or the structure to have a human answering in the back end, and now we do. So that is going to be something we're talking. We tested for the launch; it worked incredibly well, and now it's time to automate that a tiny bit, but keep the human on the back end to engage and talk to customers right after if they want to have a conversation.
That's awesome. I feel like text has been, it's something that is continuously talked about. And I know a lot of merchants that I've worked with have been a little hesitant because they're like, well, what if somebody thinks that they're going to immediately get an answer right away? But if it's one of those, like a little messenger on the bottom versus sending an actual email, a lot of people are actually deterred from sending that email because they think it's going to be like, takes a lot longer to get a response. Whereas a text, it's like, oh, I can just easily chat to this person. So that's awesome. That's exciting. Charlie, Tyler, what are you starting to think about for the upcoming selling season?
So in previous years, so this will be our third Black Friday, but hopefully our biggest by far, we're going to put a lot more effort into it. In previous years, what we've done is sort of a pretty straightforward, percentage off. And because our stuff is fairly low margin, it wasn't a super exciting percentage. It was, 5 or 10% off. And, we were worried about, and that's basically the only sale we would typically run. We're worried about, a bit cannibalizing, as they were talking about earlier, our other customers. We're worried, we did no marketing. It's something that only comes once a year. So it's a bit tricky to learn from it versus other ads we run that we can, change it up the following week. So this year we have we sort of have a list of 5 different types of promotions we are going to play with. One is, some value add, some free resizing for everything. We're talking about a possible free gift, discounting the whole store, discounting various things. And I guess, I don't know if there was any thoughts or feedback on those ideas and what's worked, but we're keen if anyone has ideas or, wants to put something in the chat or questions about what has worked.
And we also haven't done, in the past with Black Friday, we haven't utilized, we have a pretty extensive email list. We hadn't really been utilizing that honestly until the last few months. So that's something that we hadn't, done in the past with Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So we are planning on obviously making sure that we're going to be spending a lot of money on marketing basically this year, something that we haven't really unfortunately done in the past, but yeah, no, that's obviously something that's going to be a huge focus this year as well, is putting the money into the marketing and email campaigns and whatever else that we need to do to get the word out, basically, that what we're going to be offering. So
I love that. Ivana had a call with you guys before the meetup today, just to kind of brief you on what was happening, and you guys gave a really honest answer. You said, "I'm hoping to learn from the meetup."
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
great.
that's why my favorite thing is hosting panels, because it ends up being like a brainstorming session of like, okay, well, this is what I'm doing. Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've tried. It hasn't worked. And then everyone who's watching is also getting so much insight, because these are real businesses. They've been working. We're all going through the same stages. We're all human. So yeah, it's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
But this is a fantastic kind of segue. So you mentioned just in terms of like percentage offs, I think as people look at Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and holiday selling, people think discounts, discounts, discounts. And for 100 Ways, like not having a ton of profit margin, that's really hard to actually go through and like discount your products, right? And so I was wondering for both Vessi and 100 Ways, have you guys started thinking about like more philanthropic ways of doing it? Like, you know, you buy a product, and I think of Tom's, like you buy a pair of shoes and a pair of shoes goes to someone in need. Like, have you thought about those ways of going about it? Because that's just been like another kind of way of doing it when you don't want to discount a lot of your products.
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, not in the context of Black Friday, but we have, there's a really good case to be made. One of the things we love about what we're selling is that, it is all recycled stuff, so that there's not the environmental impact there. So that's something we've thought of, incorporating in the company in general, and might fit well in this context. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we have been doing already since COVID started. We were already trying things, but there was always something better to do. And since COVID hit, we started a Choose What You Pay campaign right in the beginning, where you could choose to basically a portion of your discount would be donated to basically we were creating a fund to then do a few things you could choose from it. And we keep doing that. That has been a constant since, I would say now for 5 months, in different ways, always trying new things. We now started also almost like a micro loan, where our customers can apply to basically engage with their communities. So if you want to buy coffee to the hospital in front of your house, if you want to do like small acts of kindness, now we in somehow we can enable that. So we have been doing that already for a while, and we're already trying to think, okay, what else can we do to keep that? Because it has at the end of the day to also be attractive from a sales standpoint. You do want to keep your numbers going up and so on, and being charitable at the same time. One thing that we did last Black Friday that was quite interesting, complicated, a bit, not really complicated to set up, but demands a bit of time. We actually created a gift card promotion. So you'd buy a product and you'd get a gift card as a discount. So you'd be, and then of course we would have an expiry date of, let's say, until the end of the year. So we saw a 65 to 70% redeem ratio, I'd say, for Christmas. So people are actually using that discount to give other people's gifts. So that was an interesting strategy to basically bring that customer back and work on the retention side of things. So that was at least a learn. It's the whole gift card situation is a bit clunky sometimes, but once you understand and you use a good partner, we use they changed their name, but we used Gift Wizard at the time. I think they changed Rise.ai, I think now, but we used them in the past.
That's awesome. I actually saw that because I frequently go onto your website, and I'm like, one day I'm going to do it. But that's awesome. And so do you think you're going to continue that throughout the holiday selling, or are you going to kind of try to pivot, maybe look at different ways of incorporating that? Yeah,
the challenge, I think the biggest struggle is to promotions we all do and everybody does during that period. And at the same time, you don't want to devalue the product or the brand. And of course, margins, always. But let's put that aside and talk about the branding aspect. And we're always struggling with that. How far should we go to not devalue the product? So we try to find different ways, maybe free gifts, maybe a donation aspect to it. Those are the things we are considering, to also innovate a bit and not deliver the same thing year over year. But the discount was a huge success. So we might bring that back too.
We were
Discounts are
actually
really hard.
sorry.
I was just going to say discounts are really hard to beat sometimes.
Absolutely. We were in a similar vein in terms of like one of the reasons why we haven't offered discounts is because of our, basically our margins, as well as Gabriel said, we don't want to devalue the product in terms of it is high-end jewelry, basically. We also, that has been, I guess, one of the challenges as well for us, just in terms of, offering discounts. And the only reason that we haven't really done discounts outside of Black Friday, Cyber Monday during the year is because of, those reasons as well.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing more and more companies actually moving away from the discount portion and actually just putting in more incentives to purchase around that time. So, still want to support, you don't want to devalue your products, but hey, like we want to be a part of this still and not just kind of overlook the holiday selling season. I think we're seeing a lot of that come through.
I like that the idea of like, that was a really good idea, Gabrielle. Thanks for sharing that. Like the like buy a gift and you get a gift card to give as a gift too. It's like, it's in the season, it's like, yeah, sometimes you're going to shop for yourself, but obviously there's like so many people on your list to shop for. We did this one year where we were working with a boutique and we did like a gift with purchase. We love the gift with purchase campaigns. We do them year round, gift with purchase, where it's not necessarily like a discount. So you're still keeping like the pricing and the brand integrity intact, but you just like give a free gift. And if the gift is like hyper relevant to what you're selling, people love it. We did a campaign for this boutique I was just talking about, and it was like, buy this like romper and get another free gift that you can give to someone else. We brainstormed, like this company sold cards, like gift cards, like with Drake and Kanye on them and like cool stuff like that. And we were going to launch a campaign where it's like, buy a gift and get 5 gift cards to give out to like everybody else. So like you buy this item and you get 5 cards to give to people. And we ended up like just the timeline and the complexity of doing that did not fit this campaign. So we ended up just giving away like a little like magnesium oil as a gift, like buy this romper, get this magnesium oil as a gift. And that campaign absolutely crushed it. We had like a 13 return on ad spend with that campaign, just with a little gift with purchase instead of always discounting. That's one we're kind of like leaning on a lot this upcoming season is like the gift idea.
Yeah, one thing I would add that worked for us is to try to always upsell and trying to get that second tier. So if you're going to give a gift for one piece, for one product, what about the second product? Maybe the gift is slightly better. We did that. The gift card idea was pretty much the same. We'd have a tier of, let's say, $20 for the first, $50 if you buy 2. On the brand side, it's always better to sell quantity because you save on the shipping side, you save on the margins. It's one transaction, one acquisition. So there are a lot of pros on doing that. So I would try to think of ways, okay, if I'm using a gift, how can I stimulate them to go above the first one?
And if they're thinking about purchasing the second product anyways, and they're like, oh, I'd have to wait for more shipping or I'd have to potentially pay more shipping later on, they're more likely to just put it in their cart. And especially if you have a really good return policy, I feel like COVID has been fantastic for return policies because people will just purchase products and take it home and be like, you know what, if I don't like it, I'll send it back. Most of the time, people don't send it back.
Yeah, I was actually like doing a deep dive into offer strategies, and I maybe you can confirm this, Gabrielle, but like when you're doing an upsell, we want it to be like 15 to 20% of the cost of the core offer. We don't want it to be more than the core offer. We want it to be like an impulse buy and a quick win for the customer. So it's like something that's just like, oh, you need a camera, add on an SD card for
100%.
$20. It's like complimentary.
Yeah,
and
totally. Our struggle was because we don't have a huge variety and we don't have that many accessories. So for us, the most obvious one is new lace packs and things like that, or maybe insoles. But there is, we try to upsell a second pair, but the amount of people that are going for 2 pairs right away without maybe knowing the brand on the prospect side of things, it's not that high. So we noticed, okay, those we should try more accessories or different things that are related. We're looking at new products that I can't share yet, but they are quite obvious to initial brand that we're looking at to be able to add that to the mix and maybe upsell more.
Yeah, I was talking to, actually, I don't know if he's here in the panel, but Marco from Privy. I hope he doesn't come out and tell this story because but we talk to these guys at Privy all the time, and they were telling us that one of the agencies that they work with only does merch websites for bands. So like you want to go buy band tees, band hats, band blah, blah, blah. For every single order, they just like across all their clients, they added this quick upsell that was a $5 sticker. So it's like, oh, you bought the shirt, here's a sticker for $5. And like just absolutely crushed it with every order went up by $5 with this sticker campaigns. So it's like a quick impulse, quick win for the customer, aligned with what they're already buying and not much more than the core offer. I hope Marco doesn't come out. I just spoiled his like favorite story, but I mean, he has lots of stories.
Stole the best one. Cool. Okay, I want to just shift it a little bit. So in terms of actual promotions, marketing, that sort of thing, going into holiday selling, what mediums do you usually leverage? Like, is it social media? Is it email marketing? Is it all of the above? What I think, Gabrielle, you can probably speak to this a little bit more in terms of what has worked and what hasn't. And maybe Charlie and Tyler, what are you planning on working on? I know you mentioned email marketing, but is there some other mediums you're going to use?
Yeah, I guess we'll be the simpler one, so we can go first. I guess first of all, one thing we looked at the last couple of years, how much sales we did over that weekend with no marketing other than a banner on the page. And it was about, just with our normal customers coming in, people waiting for that sale and checking our site, we did about double the sales each of those years that we'd normally do in a weekend. So that gives us a bit of a baseline that we can judge, the new marketing we're going to do. As you said, the biggest one is just leveraging our customers who are following us and, who have given us their emails. That's the only, and then I'm excited about possibly doing it on Instagram and Facebook, some marketing there. But that's sort of the plan. And then we're going to try to do a big debrief and deep dive into what worked and what didn't afterwards. Try to learn from that for future sales.
And Gabrielle, I'm just going to jump in here because I have another quick question for them. In terms of building that email list, I know for a lot of people who are just starting, they're kind of like, where do I even start building that list? What was kind of the tactics of building that list? Was it your retail business? Was it like some of your old partners? What worked best for you?
It was mainly like our retail business and people just signing up for like a newsletter that we hadn't put out at the time, but that they could, have basically updates. But also our email list is all of the, various customers who have purchased from us in the past and stuff like that. So we've mentioned, we've been in business for over 3 years. And it's been, we just have gradually gained that list over that time, right? So
yeah, we had the sign up form at the bottom of the page. The one thing that I think is sort of compelling about the emails we could send out and now are is that we were listing new products every week, so we could send people that sort of reminder there and sort of deliver something of value, hopefully, to the people who are interested.
This is a key point. Actually, I'll jump in here too. It's a key point about 100 Ways is that you guys aren't a catalog business with like tons of inventory of one item. You have one-off unique items, right? So it's like, I think I've gotten to know that about you guys, that like a lot of people come back checking, what do they have now? What do they have now? Because it's these new like treasures that people are looking for. So I think that definitely will play into the strategy.
Every item is unique. So we have thousands of SKUs basically. So no, and we do every Friday, and it's a set time at noon, we release new items. So we have people, and we've even from the Shopify analytics, we can see like site traffic during certain times. Like it's always just like, we have like so many more people visiting our site. So it's like part of our company. People know we even have a little countdown at the bottom of our site kind of thing, saying when new items are going to be listed. So because they are unique, we do have a lot of customers that are, checking, at Friday at noon. And it's obviously a very unique type of business, but yeah.
I love that, especially because you have unique products. Something that just came to my mind in terms of like holiday selling, instead of doing every Friday, you could say, hey, we're actually going to be posting double the amount of products on this date. It's just that influx of orders or of people coming. It could just be another way of like, hey, this is when we're announcing the products, and just doing a few emails leading up to it. And maybe don't post the new ones the for the month of November or something like that, just to like gauge and kind of increase that excitement.
Yeah, no, I love these ideas for things other than just straight up discounts, for ways of, I don't know, just making it a little more engaging and exciting and different this time of year.
This just brought, like, this is a good brainstorming session right now, because Dan was out here earlier and he was talking about Ocean Sports. Well, when we were working with Ocean Sports, they kind of have like their in-store promotional calendar. They know at the start of the season, it's lake season. We're in Alberta. We're not actually buying ocean. They're called Ocean Sports. We're not even buying ocean. But so like lake season is just massive for them. They sell like kayaks and paddle boards and wake surfing and wakeboarding vests. So at the start of the season, we did like a gift with purchase, like buy this vest, get this like cool booze cup for your boat. That's essentially what it was, because we knew that dad was buying all the gear. So we wanted to give a gift for dad. And at the end of the season, though, we're like, okay, no, we know at the end of the season, every year as a retailer, they want to move all that lake inventory at the end of the season. So at the end of August, we've been gearing up, planning for this, what we call the Dutch auction. And a Dutch auction, you had to come back every day to see what the new sale items were for the clearance sale for the season. And we did like twice daily emails and like doubled their revenue with just email revenue that month. It was a lot of work getting those products into like product pages, but we did use Zipify for that. So it was really easy to like make product pages come back. And I think that's a great idea that you brought it up, Cassandra. And we should talk about that, Charlie, because just like you guys do it every Friday. Well, for the holiday, it's going to be the 12 days of Christmas. And every day we're going to unleash new products. Love it.
Okay, we went a little bit sidetracked, so we'll bring it back. So the initial question, Gabriel, was just in terms of the medians that you typically use going into holiday selling. I'm sure it's quite similar to what you typically use, but maybe just explain like what has been really beneficial, some of the avenues you've gone through, and what's worked.
I think what changes from evergreen to holiday is just the anticipation you try to build. In the KPIs, you measure your campaigns in the beginning. Like, let's say this year, I'll be measuring October completely different from what I usually do, because I'm going to start building my whole funnel for BFCM by that period. And that is our strategy. We know, and that I think everybody that runs ads already know, with elections in the US, things are getting tougher and tougher on that side. We're in Canada, so we know more companies are marketing Canada because US is getting more competitive. And at the same time, we do need to target the US. So we are already trying to prepare for that, as everyone else, I guess, is doing it. So we're going to be using the core channels we already leverage, and basically all social channels currently. So I have campaigns running on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest. I think the only campaign that I'm not running is LinkedIn and Twitter right now. But we try to be relevant organically. But all the rest, we have been tackling those channels and understanding how to leverage them at their best. And of course, email, text, ManyChat is another one. And even one thing we don't have, but we are investigating, is how to improve the chat conversation on our own website. We know a lot of people have a lot of questions. It's quite a unique product. So people want to know why, how, all those things. And even though we have an FAQ, we have, in our opinion, a well-informed PDP, people want to know more. And right now our chat is quite standard. It's a standard CS chat, and we want to be more conversational. So that is something else that we're trying to add that we didn't have before.
That's awesome. That's something that I haven't even thought about in terms of like looking at outside sources that will be affecting ads. So things like the elections, like running for ad space. That's definitely something to keep in mind. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, there was a graph launched yesterday, or someone posted yesterday in one of those ad buyer groups, that the amount of investment that Biden put in the last 2 days, it's already more than what Trump did in the last 2 weeks. So it's getting so competitive because it's the same place. It's just you're just fighting for placements.
That's crazy.
He also got a record-breaking amount of donations when Kamala was announced. So exactly. That's probably they had some extra budget to throw in.
Okay. Another quick question, well, probably not a quick question realistically. What is your favorite part about ramping up for holiday season? And what is your least favorite part? Because I would imagine it's probably pretty stressful.
Well, I'll start this one. On my case, my favorite day is the launch day. I love that excitement. We've done in the past, the last 2 years, we shut down the website for a few hours. And we'll have a lockdown. The page would be locked. And it's fairly simple to do in Shopify. You just have to add a password to it. It's scary as hell, to be honest, because you're stopping your sales for a certain period of time. Of course, you can have a forum for people to keep signing up and being there. So that to me is the most exciting part. We usually do at midnight. So from, let's say, 8 p.m. to midnight, we close. And then you start seeing people there, like hundreds of people. Thank God now it's more than hundreds, but in the past was very few. And you see that building up until you launch, and then you see sales coming in. That is, to me, is incredible. And all the things that break that you don't think would break, and then you have to fix on the fly. But to me, that is the most exciting. And to me, is always the postmortem. I'm really tired. I'm done already. I don't want to think about that season anymore. But you have to revisit. It's really important. And a lot of people forget. We learned that in the hard way, because you don't remember last Black Friday today. If you stop and think, you don't remember the details. So it's really important to put a doc together and collaborate with your team to have that post-mortem. But that is very annoying. Everybody's tired. Everybody's done. And you have to go through remember all the pros and cons, and the positive and negatives.
I always see that as like the fun hangover, or like the excitement hangover, because like it's just so much ramp up. You've been getting everything like set up, organized. You've been working on this, and then you have that initial launch or the big launch, and then after that, you're like, I have no more energy left. I don't want to think about it. Charlie, Tyler, what about you guys?
Yeah, like the sort of alluded to it before, but it's sort of like all year sort of eyes on this Christmas and shopping kind of holiday season. So just, all the things we're going to do there, gives a little bit of momentum and incentive to sort of get it done and speed up a bit, around this time of year to be fully ready. Yeah, it's great to watch, like, those sales come in, that little Shopify, like, cha-ching sound when you make a sale. Yeah, keeping that on.
That is addictive, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And then the hard part, though, is you sort of get one crack at it a year. So if there's things we wish we did differently or things that don't work, that, there can be a bit of, I don't know, not so much regret, but just a little eagerness to have that, restart. Yeah.
Amazing. So I'm curious, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned just in regards to getting set up for the holiday seasons?
For us, it's probably, I don't know, like one lesson is it's not our whole business, like, we haven't done much marketing for it. Most of our sales aren't happening in that holiday season. It is a boost for sure. Like I said, there's a bit of regret, but most years, even after the holiday season, within a month or two, we're growing fast enough that we're having our biggest months again. So I guess to not put too much pressure on it, just, all the sales happening then. Yeah, that's probably the biggest lesson we've learned.
For us, and again, we're a team of around 15 to 17. So it's fairly easy to, I can't say that, but it should be easier to keep an alignment going and everybody in the same page. So a huge difference I learned from the first to the second was that we involved everyone in building the campaigns for the second Black Friday. So everyone in the team, from CS to finance to marketing to logistics, everyone was really part of that build up. So first of all, they understood the why. They understood why and how we were getting there. And most importantly, they felt part of it. So we made sure to show, like, even on the CS side, make sure you retain everyone. That is important. That matters. That builds the number we need to hit. And this is the number. And it was the first time. We have 2 storefronts on Shopify, so we have to keep on 2 screens kind of thing going on at the same time. Now there is a dashboard, but it's still, I do prefer the 2 screens there with different currencies. So it was really nice to, for the first time, share the kind of information that everybody knew the daily goal. And wasn't a big deal. It was just a spreadsheet that I put together, but everybody was in the same pace together. And the first one wasn't like that. It was basically marketing freaking out. We launched, let's get it together. And nobody was quite, what is going on here? That is just Friday. Let's all go home. No, don't go home. We have this going on. So there was a huge learning from the first to the second that was about alignment.
That's awesome. And I would assume too, as your team grew, it was probably like, oh yeah, there's only a few people at the first one. And then the second one, your team is probably like a couple heads more people.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to shift the conversation a little bit just because we have about 10 or 7 to 10 more minutes. So just looking at different apps, what are some of the apps that you're currently using? I know there's tooling. A lot of people are trying to integrate new apps. We even had this conversation earlier about just ones that people have worked with and have really liked. What are some of your go-tos?
So one app that we've actually incorporated recently is a chat app. So it's called Talk To. So basically, customers directly from our website are able to chat with a dedicated employee who is actually answering their questions during our open hours. There's typically questions about the jewelry pieces, just can this be resized? What's the characteristics of this stone, or various just different questions. So that's the one that we've recently, and that was actually a recommendation by Dan at Socialite. But a couple other ones, we use another app called Signify, which is kind of like basically an insurance kind of thing. So basically, for when we're shipping out and stuff like that, it provides insurance for us against fraud and stuff like that. We have recently incorporated something called Wishlist, which is a part of GrowWave, which is essentially customers can actually on our website actually like an item basically, and it will save it to a list that they so they could have like a list of 20 different items that they're interested in, and it actually saves it. And that's an app that we've incorporated into our website. And obviously Klaviyo is just amazing just for analytics and just like giving us how we're doing in terms of our email campaigns and all the various things that we have going on with marketing and stuff like that. So
yeah, on my end, 100% for Klaviyo. We use Klaviyo as well, and more and more, if you get used to use flows and building automation and trying to customize the customer journey using Klaviyo, it's, in my opinion, the best solution. And the other thing for ads, whoever uses Klaviyo can sync the audiences from Klaviyo into Facebook. So you can create dynamic audiences. That is incredibly helpful because you have that audience being nurtured and growing over and over. So we love Klaviyo as well. There are a lot, and when I arrived, you guys were talking about that already. Google Optimize and Hotjar are big ones for me. Not during Black Friday, but before that. So now is when we're running a lot of different product page testing and different value props, seeing what resonates more and what not. I didn't know about Zipify, so I'm writing that down for landing pages. We use a different provider that is good, but doesn't integrate really well with Shopify. So definitely looking for that. And then I kind of separate things between Black Friday, post, pre and during kind of thing. And then upsell apps. We have one that we use a lot that we really like called Rebuy. They're slick. They do the work and it's very smooth. I like that transition between my cart to their widget. So a huge fan. And the one that we use the most is Shopify Scripts. Whoever is a Plus member, we use so much, a bit too much sometimes. But a lot of our strategies, the discounting strategy and the tiered discounts, they're all based on Shopify Scripts.
Very cool. I mean, my next question was going to be, what are some of the Shopify features that you really enjoy? So that was an easy question. Charlie, Tyler, was there anything you wanted to add in terms of features that you really leverage within Shopify?
No, I mean, we're still fairly new at it. The analytics we find very useful. We're playing with Shopify Flow a bit to try to make some of our, listing products a little bit less intensive, because for us, since we are listing, close to 100 items a week, that's a big task for us. So trying to, when we list certain items, if it has a diamond in it, and then have that automatically tag, that's a good feature. And one of our big focuses is on menus and how we're organizing and cataloging. So I think there's a lot of features there that can help us, but we're still, still working on that. Anything to add?
Yeah. No,
good. Yeah.
Amazing. So we only have 2 minutes left, and then we're going to hop into a Q&A. So anybody in the audience, if you have a question for any of the panelists, pop them into the Q&A. We'll go through them. We have about 15 minutes to do that. Just as my last question to both the panelists, and even Scott, if you have any ideas, what would your advice be for anybody who is going into the holiday selling season, maybe for the first time, the second time, and they're kind of like, where do I start? What do I look at? I think Dan and is it Scott's? No, not Scott. Anyways,
Simon.
Simon, there we go. Their presentation earlier, I think, did a fantastic job of kind of setting people up of like, what do we start looking at? But from your experience, what would your suggestions be?
Yeah, I'll just quickly, I would say, don't do it from scratch. There's lots of people, from this call, there's a lot of good advice, it seems. We were at a stage where we were successful enough that we could, have experts come in and take a look at the stuff, because the Facebook advertising, the Instagram advertising is, a little bit, there's a pretty big learning curve, but I think there's a lot of resources there. So, if it is a new thing, just sort of follow along. I'd say don't be afraid to spend something. The returns are usually, I think, for a lot of businesses, very good this time of year, but that would be my advice.
Yeah, for us, I think, of course, depends on your stage as a business, but simplify in the beginning, because it's overwhelming. You're going to have tons of ideas and sometimes not a lot of time to plan them. And one of the learnings we had was if you don't have everything properly planned and tested, if you get a good volume of traffic and you start seeing a lot of sales trickling in, and there is something wrong going on, you're going to hate yourself. So make sure that is properly planned, that even if it's simple, that is strong and solid, tested, retested, because there's, for a lot of businesses, it's their Super Bowl. So I would try to simplify more than overcomplicate things, and try to surround, even for me, I've been with Vessi for 3 years only, and the way I surrounded myself was trying to put into some Facebook groups. The Shopify group is really insightful on that too. There are tons of other Facebook groups that you can join. There are some very cool marketing newsletters if you're into marketing and all this realm. There are a lot of great newsletters that you can sign up for that are free and give a lot of insight on what the market's doing, what people are thinking. So try to surround yourself with that knowledge if you don't have it. That is what I would do.
This is a good opportunity for me to hop in here. I don't know why I didn't bring this up earlier, but we published a full Black Friday, Cyber Monday playbook on our blog last week or so. And the intent wasn't to share it here, it's just because we wanted to get it out there and give people some value. So I'm going to share that right now in the chat. I just did. And it's the key word here is what Simon was touching on, preparation. We don't want to just go into Black Friday. If it's the Super Bowl, we better be training and lifting weights and running and getting really healthy. So this playbook that I just shared, it kind of gives you the month by month what you need to be thinking about. We want to start warming up audiences early in September. You want to start building up those lead lists. You want to kind of follow all of these things. There's certain deadlines you got to pay attention to. After Black Friday, we still want to sell for Christmas, and we got to think about the ship by deadlines. So in this link that I just shared, it kind of gives you some of those key dates and key things to think about along the way. Oh, I think I just shared it to Ivana by accident, so she reshared it to everybody. So Thanks, Vana.
That's awesome. Okay, so we have quite a few questions. I'm going to just shoot them out here. If you think you can answer them best, hop in. Okay, so we have one specific on shipping. So how do you typically deal with shipping? What are the best ways to find suppliers?
So we extensively actually use Canada Post, which I know isn't the typical. Usually, a lot of places will use UPS, FedEx, stuff like that. But we have extensively used Canada Post. We obviously we do actually ship out at different speeds depending on the value of the item and stuff like that. We have never had a package actually go missing through thousands of orders, which has been great. But yeah, that is our actual main method of shipping. We ship out of one location, so it makes it easy. We only have we have a couple of employees who are dedicated to sort of doing that. So, but yeah, that's kind of our method of shipping the items out. So yeah.
Yeah, in our case for Canada, we use Canada Post and UPS, and for the US, for now we still use USPS. Who knows what's going to happen next there? But that is what our main provider. I don't have a lot of knowledge in how we negotiate the rates and things like that, to be honest. But if anyone has specific questions, I can always take back to my team.
Amazing. So we do have another one a little bit more on the shipping ends. Gabrielle, maybe you can touch on this one a little bit, maybe not. So they're just talking about shipping times. And is it better to use fulfillment centers in the US and Europe to save on those times? Do you know, like, have you worked on that at all?
Yeah, we did. We actually, when we brought the US, we have a US warehouse in Chicago to basically take care of US orders now. And the reason, one of the core reasons is the Amazon fever. Everyone wants to get in 2 days, sort of thing. And we don't do that. It's more. But that actually made at least 5 days. That is our standard times. And you can actually use the times as an offer, as Charlie was saying, I think, where he has different times to ship different products. We actually made shipping a product in a way that you can buy, we upsell you with shipping for the holiday season to make sure if you forgot to buy the shoes for your mom, you still have time to deliver for Christmas. Is that kind of the approach? And we do that in a fun way too, to make sure people have fun playing with that. But we sell that, so that ends up being a service we can leverage.
Amazing. So we have one from Sherry. So is there a way to do a product page and keep it private to collect pre-launch reviews? I'm not sure I fully understand this question.
You can lock a page, right? You can have one page with a password. So I guess you could in this sense.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how you would be getting the reviews if the product, like if people weren't able to purchase the products. But yeah, you can have a locked page. You can have it password protected. You can be working on stuff on the back end if you didn't want it to be posted right away, or even have like a product page or a product that you're working on and then having it launch at a specific time. So you can do that within the actual product page. Okay, and we have one from Mike specifically for Gabrielle. So love the Vessi website, so clean and great product pages. Sorry, I lost it. Would they mind sharing the Shopify theme if they've used one, or is it a custom-made site?
We customized. We did use one as the backbone. Give me 2 seconds while Cassandra reads the next question. I'll find out what is the theme on the back end. Give me 2 minutes.
We'll move on to another question as Gabrielle finds that. So from Anonymous, can both companies share their company size in terms of revenue for reference? So we can get an understand what strategies they're implementing and whether it makes sense for their company and size.
I can give you a range. It's going to be a broad one, but I can give you that. So all the strategies I mentioned from last year, we were doing between 12 and 15 million. And now we're we're quite more than that. That's the only thing I'm going to say, but it has been an interesting growth.
That's awesome. With only a few years behind, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's sort of same thing. Like we've had, not the same number, but yeah, we've grown. Like we're sort of roughly doubling every year for the last 2.5 years, and we're doing about in the $1 to $2 million a year range right now of sales.
Amazing. Okay, we have one from Letters to My Kids. I'm guessing that's the store name. So really interesting, like always. Just a question on how much your guys' product price is. Does some of you sold products more like? Sorry, one second. I'm going to reread this one. So I think what they're looking for are recommendations on selling expensive products. Tyler, I feel like you may have a really good understanding on this one.
Like it's, I guess, building trust for us. We have products at different price points, so we have some customers who have tried us out a bit that way. We price our stuff like sort of based on what our costs are rather than, and we make sure we're very competitive. So I think we have a pretty good price, good return policy, keep it quite simple. Yeah, those would be the things we do.
I was actually on your website earlier today too, and you have a really good basically graph of how you price your products as well. So you give a really good understanding of why the products are priced this way, and so I think that really helps as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Cassandra, just so about the theme was pipeline.
Amazing. I will grab the link for that and I will share it after this panel. Okay. We have one from Eves. Has anybody used any reward apps?
So we did. We used for quite a bit as well, and I'm not sure if it's a reward loyalty/reward program. What we learned from it through the year that we used is that we felt that we needed someone effectively managing the channel and not just having there in an autopilot, as usually is the pitch. And that was, I think, something we learned from it. It didn't work without a lot of engagement and change. That is a program that needs to be changed and people have to be excited about. We used Swell in the past, and then we decided to shut it down and come back with a person in place, so a community manager basically, and also a stronger offer because it wasn't really exciting. So we ended up taking it back.
We haven't actually. We have been considering it, but we haven't actually implemented a rewards program as of yet. But it is something that we are definitely considering. Just haven't implemented anything as of yet.
Awesome. We have one. I would love to know what kind of review solutions you use and why did you choose those solutions?
Okay, I'll go first then. I went through so many, to be honest. I started with Stamped, great platform, can't complain. We felt that we wanted to do a more integrated solution because we wanted to remember the loyalty program. So then we onboarded Yachtpool and their Swell. They have Yachtpool and Swell, and they now also have Text. We kept them for a year. As I mentioned, we had the Swell, but removing Swell, we felt that the program wasn't worth, or the price wasn't worth the whole package. And we migrated to Okendo that has been with us for 2-3 months now. And the core reason for that was because of their integration of Klaviyo. That to me is very important because we can get attributes. You can then target those attributes back on Facebook. So that was quite interesting to me. And they also do a breakdown between international and local for review requests that I really wanted because I don't want to ask I don't want to trigger the review request at the same time for different nationalities, sort of thing. I want it to be more customized there. And at the time, at least, Yachtco didn't offer that.
No, that's great. I wrote that name down because we had trouble with reviews at the beginning because all our products are one-off. So we haven't focused on it too much, but it's something we're looking at doing. So anyway, we're gonna try that.
Yeah, and even if your products are one-offs, I think even just having a review of like the customer experience continues to build trust with your brand too.
Yeah, and one thing we did, we merged reviews into categories because we do change colors quite often, but it's the same collection in a way. So I'm not sure if you could use something like necklaces, bracelets, not quite sure about your categories or rings, but that is kind of a way to segment the reviews for us.
Yeah, that's great. We're looking at a review, a couple options that sort of let us do those kind of things, site-wide reviews, category reviews, and just build a little more trust.
Okay, so I think we have time for maybe one more question. The other ones, maybe we'll try to answer them in just within the chat. We have one last one from Christina. So previously, we're just talking about marketing your store, getting ready for the holiday selling season. Which marketing newsletters do you suggest subscribing to? Like, are there some of your, do you have go-tos that are your favorite that are coming out with some awesome content?
In my case, Marketing Brew is an interesting one. I really like that. I'm looking at my inbox as we speak to see if I can give you more insight. And then there is one that is more of a research platform that also provides some newsletters that is called Within Marketing Pulse. And it's more about trends and insights. So that is not necessarily about newsletters, but more about what is going on in the market in retail. I can put in the chat also the names if it's easier.
Amazing. Yeah, I've been getting one from Google. I will go and find what ones. I will take a look in my inbox as well. Charlie, Tyler, did you have any?
No, again, we're making notes. We get the Shopify one that's pretty helpful, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, the Shopify one I find super helpful. The Shopify kind of core and then Shopify Plus. Even if you're not a Shopify Plus customer, they come out with a ton of really good content as well as just insight with working with such large brands. So if you're not subscribed to those, I would definitely take a look at it.
Yeah, and I'll just add really quickly, another really good one that we look at a lot is it's like digital marketers newsletter. It's called DM Insider. We'll get a link to that one. Really good.
Amazing. Well, we are at 3:15, so we are on perfect time, which I'm quite impressed with. Usually these go a lot longer. Thank you so much for everyone who participated, added questions. Gabrielle, Charlie, Tyler, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I think I personally have learned a lot. So thank you so much.
No, it was a pleasure. It was great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
thank
that was
you
fun. Yeah.
One day we're going to be able to do this all in person, and it's going to be fantastic.
We're missing like the round of applause. I hope everyone's at home clapping for this.